Welcome to the show. From Peterson's, I'm your host, Taylor Sienkiewicz, and you're listening to You Have a Cool Job, a podcast highlighting those who took their profession in a unique direction and what they did to get there. On this week's episode of You Have a Cool Job, we talked to snowboard instructor Tony Hay. But Tony isn't your average snowboard instructor. He works with all levels of riders, teaching both beginners and advanced snowboard riders, and even coaches athletes on a competitive Chinese team, which we'll talk more about later. For the majority of the year, though, Tony is based in Keystone, Colorado. He shares what a day in his work life is like.
So I work pretty much with our adult kids at all levels, from beginner all the way to advanced experts, including some of the athlete coaching as well. So a typical day would be usually, we kind of get ready by in the morning by like 10, and then usually that's when the, either a half day lesson or a full day lesson starts. And then when we're ready to kind of, meet and greet our guests, kind of, assess their ability. First, we assess their ability, and then kind of, created a goal for them for the day that is, realistic, and it's also somewhat challenging, so that, they, under my instructions, through spending the whole, 4 to 5 hours with me, that they can improve their riding throughout spending the day with me.
Mm-hmm. When you are teaching anywhere from beginner to advanced to coaching, what risks are present at those ski lessons, or how do you manage any risks that are present when you're on the mountain?
I mean, obviously, under the Colorado law, that if you go into the resort, there is a waiver that you do sign, including, any of the lessons that you're taking, that there is a safety waiver that you have to sign. But as a coach, as a professional, that our first number one thing for us is safety, right? I would know what is the common mistakes for, let's say, for beginners or intermediates. There are a few common mistakes that they are easy to make. They're accustomed to fall, and then. Definitely, I'll try to teach them to avoid the risk. And then another thing that we do teach that we emphasize on is how to fall correctly. Probably within the first 45 minutes of talking to our guests, that I'll quickly assess, what is a good exercise for this person to practice that, involves the least risk. So that's usually the path I'll take with my guests.
However, the risks managed between beginner and advanced snowboarders involves different factors.
Obviously, when you get to high level, let's say that you're advanced, you want to take a freestyle lesson, right? That including jumping, including getting on different features, that there are going to be risks involved in that as well. But we do go through a certain practice with our board or without our board first, and then kind of slowly building up their skill so that they get comfortable, practice some of the freestyle elements as well.
Okay. And what about the coaching with the Chinese province team? Can you tell me a little bit about that?
So last year that I was working with a couple national team members, actually, coaching the province adaptive team, so that there are some of the amputees, some of them are having hearing disabilities, and also working with some of the eyesight disabilities as well. Obviously, that requires sometimes, let's say that if you have an eyesight disability, that you will need a guide in front of you. Also, if you are a, let's say, above or below the knee amputee, that you would require special prosthetics to be installed first, and then to be using different equipment to help you to be successful in the sport.
Tony also said that several of the athletes he is coaching on the team, the Hebei Para-Snowsports Team, are potential candidates for the Paralympic Games. I asked him what it's like working with such advanced snowboarders.
When you get to more advanced snowboarders, most of them are kind of get into the racing side. So kind of slalom, go around the gates. So we teach them So first of all, we have to kind of assess your riding ability to see where you can improve on your riding abilities, makes you a little bit more versatile riders, because you are going different terrains in different conditions, right? So that sometimes let's say it's a spring, so the snow might be a little bit slushy, and sometimes maybe you are competing in, let's say, Russia or Eastern European, that gets a little bit icy conditions. How do you manage your ability to pick out the best line choice in all different kind of conditions? That is our goal, to pretty much improve their versatility. That's our number one goal. And then is how do we use some of the tiny skills, tiny techniques that you can shave off half a second here or there.
Okay, so what is the baseline for being on that team? Like, do they try out for it, or do they just have certain times?
Well, usually the provincial team, they do have scouts, kind of going to different events to say that, okay, that looks like a promising athlete. So we they have a scout, and then the provincial team usually picks the members. We're just there to train.
For several weeks over the summer, Tony goes to New Zealand with these athletes to train. Afterwards, a local coach goes with the team to competitions. I asked Tony what got him noticed by the team and how he was offered a coaching position.
I'm actually one of the few snowboarder coaches that has went through the Western system, kind of thriving up in the Western coaching system, that speaks both English and Chinese, that understands the biomechanics and that understands all the different coaching theories that is adapted by both cultures. China right now, they do not have a lot of advanced coaches. They hire quite a bit U.S. coaches actually from the like a high level athlete coaching group. So what they'll need is they'll also need someone like me that understands both Chinese and English and understands all the different techniques and coaching methods to work with those high-level coaches, or sometimes they simply just hire me.
Okay, so you went through a training program out here in the U.S.?
Yes, it's called American Association of Snowboard Instructors, AASI.
Okay, great. And what made you want to do that?
Well, at first I was just someone who's interested, in the sport, oh, okay, so this is just a sport. I moved to Colorado about 5-6 years ago, and then I start going to Keystone just to kind of, ride, have fun. And then I ran into a couple snowboard coaches, and then I took a few lessons, kind of got to know some of the instructors over there. They're saying, okay, you have a great riding ability. Why don't you become an instructor, for us? And then kind of go into the instructor system, start developing yourself. So I kind of just applied and then got the job, and then I just kind of stumbled into this profession. Let's put it that way. Yeah.
Right. And then just through that training is how you transitioned into coaching?
Right. You're coaching, you're riding, and then your different movement analysis. So that's like the three major areas you get your, how you become a good instructor as you work on these three areas.
So, Tony, what keeps you motivated to keep coaching all these different types of people?
Obviously, my passion for the sport, right? Like, you have to love what you do to kind of stay in this profession. And then another thing is a lot of my satisfactions coming from watching my student or watching my athlete to grow. So that's another thing that, I would love to help someone to become better and better, so that, I can grow with them. That's another of my major motivation.
That makes perfect sense. And do you plan to move further into the coaching of teams like in China, or where do you want to continue focusing your efforts, I guess?
Well, I guess I'm continuing to kind of advance myself. So in the snowboard instructor world, our public doesn't really know that, snowboard instructors, they have different levels. Most resorts, they have uncertified instructors. They have level 1, level 2, and level 3. So I'm right now, I'm pushing level 3 instructors, which is, the top level that you can get in our profession that we call it a full certified snowboard instructor. So I'm very close to level 3 instructors. And then I want to keep kind of pushing myself into those, and then possibly in the future becoming an examiner as well.
What's an examiner?
So an examiner is, you're working with ASI, and then let's say that, I am an uncertified instructor. I have to go through an exam to be certified as a level 1 instructor, level 2 instructor, or level 3 instructor. So I want to become kind of an examiner in that role, possibly in the future.
As for final thoughts, Tony wanted people to keep in mind that despite stereotypes and sometimes glorification, a snowboard instructor deals with all types of clients as a service industry professional, including beginner clients that can be more difficult. He explained that despite the fact that he loves the sport, his work isn't all fun and games.
So just want to kind of get the words out there. I don't think the public really knows that what we do. They often see that, those guys are getting paid to snowboard or to ski. It's not true. We're just a normal person like you and me, going over there. Let's say that, we're taking care of your kids. We are working with some of the level 1s that, it's a lot of grunt work over there. When you're going to a resort, you're taking a lesson that is very, we are in the service profession.
Snow sports are a huge segment of the outdoor industry, and high-level instructors and coaches like Tony will continue to be in demand. We hope you're inspired by Tony's story to find your passion. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week.